Welcome to the 1457 podcast from Scotland, where golf began. As you should know by now, we are a digital platform and we want to inspire golfers near and far with our great photography, short films and stories, and of course podcasts like this. We want you, the listener, to come to Scotland after listening to our podcast and visit some of the fine golf courses we talk about. And we've had a great summer and now we are back in action. I'm Stevie, your resident golf nut, and as usual I'm joined by Mr. Malcolm Duck. Good evening, Malcolm.
Good evening from sunny Scotland's Gulf Coast, East Lothian.
Oh, he's always on the marketing, he's always on the sale.
Well, it's always
and
sunny
Dave
here,
Kerr
sunshine.
From it's definitely not sunny in Glasgow today, tell you that. And Dave Kerr from Fife's finest, Dave Kerr. That's
very,
my new
very
name for you,
kind.
Dave.
The good news about Fife is it doesn't need selling. Fife sells itself.
Exactly, they don't need to make up this. Hey, like that.
We can
And
see
for
the
those
winking that
obviously-
you can't see. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. Well, put it this way, Malcolm. Dave doesn't need some fancy marketing campaign to sell the golf courses in Fife, does he? That's the truth. Scotland's Golf Coast, etc., etc.
The home
Anyway.
of golf, really.
What I love about this is I like to
Scotland,
switch
where
sides.
golf began, that's what it's all about.
Yes, exactly. And there's a new addition to Scotland where golf began, a new society, which, Malcolm, you want to tell the listeners a little bit about?
Yeah, you might wonder why we call this the 1457 podcast, because it's all about Scotland, where golf began, and the videos and the content we make on there. But we just launched the 1457 Society that you can join. So it's a society for people who want to join a club and be involved in playing golf, staying, eating and drinking around about. We've got chat rooms, we've got events, we've one coming up in Dundonald, we've got merchandise. Just www.1457society.com and join. It'll cost you the whole of £49. You'll have great fun. Come along, enjoy the ride.
Great. Well, let you know that I have joined and I'm looking forward to reaping those benefits and meeting fellow like-minded golf nuts like myself. Right, and there's another thing we're going to do, we've thought about, which I think is a great way to celebrate Scotland's finest golf courses, and it's called Scotland's 18. Dave, tell our listeners what that's about.
So I think I've seen a number of these surveys or conversations online, maybe on social media, about Scotland's best golf course, or Scotland's best opening hole, best closing hole, these kind of conversations. I think what would be terrific to try and do is to canvass opinions on what the best 1 to 18 is in Scotland. So the best first hole across the whole of Scotland, the best second hole across the whole of Scotland. It leads to some really interesting debate about, what do you want in a first hole? Personally, I don't think you'd particularly want that to be the toughest hole on the golf course. Maybe a nice gentle introduction is exactly what you're looking for when you step onto a golf course. So again, I think it'd just be great to hear people's opinions and thoughts on what the best first, best second, best third holes are across our wonderful country.
And I think what we can do, and I think we'll get into a bit more of the nitty-gritty around what that means, is we don't necessarily need to go straight to Scotland's 18. We can divide it up a little bit. Like today, like I'm an Ayrshire guy, we've got a Fife guy, we've got an East Lothian guy. Maybe there's where we can focus, but there is opportunity, obviously, to bring other areas which have fantastic golf courses, which we've talked about in this podcast, into the mix. But that's something we can get to. Malcolm, what do you think about this? Do you think it's a great way to celebrate Scotland's golf courses?
Yeah, I think it is. And you guys listening can get involved on Twitter or Instagram at Scotland Where Golf Began, if you go into there and give your thoughts and ideas. And then what are the regions? A lot of discussion and debate. What are the regions? Should there be
use
two holes?
Use the hashtag Scotland's 18, because we luckily searched that and nobody else has used that yet. So Scotland's 18, that's the hashtag, and that makes it easy for us to pull all this together.
Every time I go away from Scotland's Golf Coast here in East Lothian, rolled nicely that, didn't it? Every time I go away, it just reminds me why I don't have to go away, because 21 golf courses within 15 minutes drive. But the same to an extent, I've got to say a little bit on the West Coast. The West Coast, Jamie. Again, great concentration there. Out around Aberdeen, out around Highlands, Dornoch-Nair, around the islands, just fantastic. We really do. Have I missed anywhere out?
Well, plenty.
No, regions. I thought Dave Kerr would go back and miss Fife out there for a wee minute. Angus and all the rest. But we really are. In Scotland, we're just blessed. Oh, guys, all a bit of Josh. But we really are blessed with great holes. And even thinking of East Lothian, I'm trying to think of what would be my first. And that's a toughie. I was chatting to someone the other day, and Renaissance just had a new bunker put in the first, and he was bemoaning it because you can't hit driver there. And you need to be able to hit driver on the first of a hole. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy's quite a good caddy. He's an American called Todd Jerome, but I won't name him. So I'm thinking, Craigie Law, you can't hit driver. Kilspindie, you can't hit driver. Lough Ness, you can't hit driver. Well, you can, but you're in a bunker. Gullin 1, you can't hit driver. Well, you will, but you're in a bunker. North Berwick, you can't hit driver. Well, you will, but you'll be on the beach. So, it's not all about driver off the first hole. But then you look at somewhere like the Kings. The first on the Kings, one of my favourite holes. Bloody great target to hit at. You've got to put it in the right place for your second shot. So how do you go about choosing it? Be great fun.
Well, I mean, exactly, and as you say, so it's not only what makes a great golf hole, but what makes a great first hole, what makes a great second hole, what should be the mix of them, how many par threes, how many par fours, and how many par fives. But let's to make it simple, I think we go for having a little discussion, the three of us, around representing our three home teams and looking at first holes, just to let the listener get an understanding of what we're talking about. Since Malcolm has been banging on about East Lothian so much already, I feel that Dave should have the honour to let us know which hole, first hole in Fife, or who would be his nominees. Actually, here's an idea. Why doesn't Dave nominate them? And if we've played the courses, Malcolm and I can help decide.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. I've got 5 off the top of my head.
Oof.
That immediately just jump out at me. I think the Old Course is going to be on the list, right? The hole itself is, the fairway's as wide as you could possibly want it to be, but you do need to think about club choice off that tee. If you're going to get one well down there, depending on the wind direction, you might potentially be in the burn. So think about that second shot as well. Do you want a wee nice shot, wee wedge in there, or do you want to go with something like a full shot? So the Old Course is going to be on the list. I think somewhere like Crail, the Balcomie course at Crail, that's a terrific opening tee shot down the hill.
Oh yeah, it's a good hole.
It's just an absolutely stunning place to spend any time, to be honest. If you're looking for something very new to contrast against the Old Course in Crail, you've got Dumbarnie's first hole, which again just stunning. Looks out from the clubhouse right out to the Firth of Forth. Again, well bunkered hole, interesting second shot in as well. You have to mention Kingsbarns. I think it's a great opening hole because it is a wee bit gentle. You can play any club you want in the bag off that tee. You can hit whale on a driver if you want, and a nice wide fairway to play into. And the fifth one I had was probably the new course at St Andrews. Again, it's if you can get a good driver on it, it's potentially a drivable par 4 to start. It's an interesting one if you've warmed up properly. You can really take it on. But if you just leak it a wee bit, there's a couple of bunkers waiting there to grab a ball that's leaked a wee bit from the left to right. So that's a strong 5. It's a strong 5, lads. I don't know how you're going to choose between those, to be honest.
Well, I think the first. For me, right, the first of the Old Course, I think, is a great shout, but it's kind of like maybe a little bit cliched in this discussion. Would you know? I do like the challenge of it, but the challenge of it is the fact is like, surely no golfer on earth can actually miss this fairway, but that has happened.
I've seen a lot.
Yeah, I think it's as much about trying to make contact with the ball as it is about what direction it goes. I haven't played the first at Dumbarnie, so Malcolm needs to give me his take on that one. For me, at the moment, I'll say first at on the Balcomie course at Crail was probably my favourite.
I'm really a bit upset with that list Dave's come up with because
there's no holes in East Lothian. No,
it's disappointingly good. It's and he actually argued it quite well. There's something about standing on the first at the Old Course that is just special, and I've been lucky enough to stand there with wives of tour players and different things and so on. You say wife of the tour player what, but they go around travelling, and to stand there with all the history and 150th championship celebration at Prestwick this year, and of course it's 149th Open at the old course this year because the first one was actually an invitational. But the history there is unbelievable. And again, as Dave's right, you've got to decide what you're going to hit off the tee, and then depending where the flag is, it's near the front. You've got to make sure you get past it or you get up to it. For me, I remember getting slagged off about giving a slightly impolite description of it on No Laying Up podcast, where I described it as a wide open field with a burn across and a particularly flat green, which it is, but that doesn't take away a fairly magical nature. And we've seen some pretty good tour players missing the fairway, and the same on the 18th, which is equally as wide but from the different side.
Well, just sorry, Malcolm, just to add to that, I mean, I sat on the Thursday of the Open with my son on that stand in the first, and it was amazing. Like, we watched maybe 10 groups tee off. Most of them were on the 18th fairway, because they must be genuinely nervous about blocking it right. I mean, most of them were like left. I mean, I'm sure there's angles and there's a flag situation, and that's probably part of it. But I was surprised how many of them were left and towards the Swilcan Bridge, which just shows you, even with all that space, it's like, it's nervous.
I don't care who you are, you'll be a bit nervous. And it's, but like North Berwick, the two courses that start in the town and come back into the town, so that's pretty special as well. Especially, I mean, again, no top of the first, the 18th. And I'm struggling what my 18th in Scotland would be. But you're looking back down at the R&A Clubhouse and the stand. Pretty. I mean, I hate saying this about anywhere in Fife, but I mean, a pretty spectacular view. And again, I love simplicity of the old courses. Not just the old course, but the older courses in Scotland. Some of it's not about the tweaks and bits. It's just about the simplicity of the design, and that fits right in there. Dumbarnie is an interesting call, because the burn across the first in Dumbarnie also gives you problems depending what tee you're playing for. Do you make it? Do you not make it? So very different from the old course, but new course from Dave Scott there is one of the great guys in Scottish golf, done a phenomenal job. They had a tough year this year, but they've done well trying to get back from it. So that's pretty good. Kingsbarns, yep. Balcomie, yeah, for me it's between the old course, Balcomie, and Dumbarnie. I'm probably gonna go the old course, which goes against my sinews. I'm a liar because I'm a member of the St Andrews Club, and there is something really special about the old course.
Malcolm, you've never told us before that you're a member of the St Andrews Club, by the way. You've never mentioned that before. You never mentioned before that you're a member of the St Andrews Club. Never.
I might have done once, but too often when I'm fighting Fife. It's only when I occasionally play for their team I have to switch allegiance. But I would go for the old course, just for the sense of history and the simplicity, the decision on the drive, then where you put it, the decision on the second mating shot, and the green is it's a great green, lot of kind of subtle undulations and so on. So I'd go. That's where I'd go.
Dave, what's your final verdict, mate? Again,
I think everyone loves the old course. It's special to stand on that first tee. It's a moment in your life. The first time you do it, if you do it every week, the last time you did it, it's always amazing. I do need to mention, I think that first tee shot at Crail on the Balcomie course, though, is just, if you're standing there, maybe it's a windy day and it's coming right in out to the coast, it's coming in from the coast, it's behind you. I've played there in all kinds of conditions with the wind going in all four directions, and I've played there on sunny days, and it's just a beautiful place to stand and shake your friends' hands and wish them well on a round of golf, right?
It's a great golf course, and it's a fantastic golf hole. Probably as a golf hole, it's better maybe a little bit, because it's also reasonably simple. The history edges it.
But it's the weather that plays the part, though, because if we're talking about Balcomie, because the last time I played it was in the summer in May, and it was like 40 mile an hour wind left to right, and then you've got like a lot of golf, not much golf course to your right, and you're like trying to hit the fairway, so it's tricky. And then the second shot, even if you hit the fairway, the green runs away from you, so it's not.
But Kingsbarns again. I mean, Kingsbarns. Okay. I mean, they're five. It's very, very hard to to pick and choose. This is when we're trying to do a Scottish 18. It's hard enough to get one in a region, never mind where'd you go. You explained that rest of Scotland. Because Kings Barnes is a great opening hole as well. As you say, Dave, you don't necessarily want that to be too tough, but I mean, they're, you know, looking at that, should you ever start a golf course with a par 5? It's not out yet, but there is a very well-known course in Scotland. It's been around for a long time. It's looking at a redesign, and I think that's going to start with a par 5. And it may not be that far from us here, but yet Scottish Open, when they made the first at Renaissance, the par 5 there, a lot of people said that Alakadu said. Alakadu, for those who are not Scottish, is wise people who think they're wise, or dress in jackets and ties and blazers and things. You should never start with a par 5. But then again, I think for us, I mean, a par 5 does give you a rest. So if you don't hit a great shot, you've got a second shot to recover to get into the round. Going back to thinking about how many par 5s, par 3s.
I think that's an interesting one. I think that's an interesting one, and I think, Stevie, you kind of mentioned it there about the mix between 3s, 4s and 5s. I don't think there's a right answer in whether you want to start with a par 3 or a par 4 or a par 5. I guess fewer golf courses start with a par 3. Mostly it's a par 4 with quite a wide open fairway, I suppose, but I don't think that there's a right answer to this question.
No, it's tricky. Okay, Malcolm, East Lothian, give us your submissions for first hole.
Well, so I'll go 5 again then. First at Muirfield, long par 4, couple of bunkers nicely placed, run into the green sloping away from you, reasonably generous fairway. North Berwick first, probably should have put it 5, but North Berwick first. I'm not saying it would be 5. I'm just thinking of the old course. Again, you're starting in the town. So you've got all that kind of town stuff going on. You park your car, and do you worry where you park your car before you hit it? You might hit it on the first door on the 18th. And if a young buck, you can drive the green, but you might drive the green, it'll bounce off onto a beach. So you've got to probably think about hitting something else. One people might not think about is Lough Ness. Loughers, I drive there thinking no driver. I just think it's again simplicity of design. Young bucks can probably drive it, but there are 2 bunkers in a rise, in a kind of mound in a rise just before the green, which you may well catch, and then you got a very tough bunker shot onto a green a wee bit away and running away from you. So anything you hit longish, unless it's well left, will be caught by the ground and run you into bunkers on the right. So you really got to think what you're hitting, and it makes you start off thinking about, you know, what you're hitting, what you're not. Let's go par 3s. So Kilspindie par 3. I quite enjoyed it because when the kids were young, I played it one evening with my daughter and got a 2, and I was playing it the next day with Graham Arnott and in a match and got a 2, and I was 3 or 4 up after not a lot. Then he talks as he does, makes me sound quiet. That's not true, Graham. I know Graham's one of the good guys in life, and I was 1 down going up the 17th, so we're tied on the 18th, back to par 3 and got a 2. So I quite like that hole because I got 3 2s in one day in 24 hours. But again, the views out there, bunkers just surrounding it, so that stuff. And then I do love Renaissance, and especially that new bunker in on the right hand side. So typical Bloody Doak, Mr. Tom Doak, who's just been across in Ireland with him. Great fun. He's about to do a new course up at Castle Stewart. Clyde, one of his newer guys, is going to be leading on that. So there used to be there were still the bunkers on the left, but put a bunker a bit further on the right. So if you can't clear the rise, you're going to get funneled into the bunker, and if you can clear it by just, it'll kick you under the tree, and then an interesting second shot. Interesting, the pros are driving that past the tree in the left into the rough in the Scottish Open, because they reckon getting closer and muscling it out from what they thought light rough. I still think it's heavy rough, so that's quite interesting. So those would be my 5, but I mean, Gullen 1, which is the short par 4 there with all the bunkers. Do you drive it or take the greens on? I'm taking out Dunbar, which I like, but Dunbar's going to change, the routing's going to change, so I took Dunbar out. I actually quite like the first at Craigie Law. because again, it's risk reward. You can take it on, you can drive it or you not, or you can drive left and chip up and down. And the first at Long Nidri. Long Nidri is a course we don't talk about very much. Tough opening par 4. Anyway, those are my 5.
I thought you were going to name all 21 courses in East Lothian for a minute there, Malcolm, but yeah, okay, well.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Surprised you let me go so long.
Yeah, I should have given you a timer, Malcolm. I have to say that for me, I think probably Renaissance is the strongest first hole. And then not old school, but I do like the change with that bunker on the right. And I think that with those trees on the left, it's tricky, and the way the green's shaped, it's got pluses and minuses. It's slightly humped, but then it's got the backstop, the sort of backstop that helps you get the ball down to the pin if it's on the right, but it's more tricky if it's on the left. So I would give that my vote. What are you saying, Dave?
Renaissance is definitely a very strong first hole, I think, certainly, yeah. And Malcolm's mentioned the changes they've made. I think, we've definitely seen that hole mature considerably and improve over the years. Kilspindy is another interesting one as well. Again, I quite like that the idea of starting your round with an iron in your hand and taking on a par 3. But I just Muirfield for me is that first hole. I think it's just a really, really good, solid golf hole. It's for a man of my, let's say, dispersion. It's maybe a little bit tight.
Is that the technical term? Yeah. You're wild, Dave. You're just wild.
I'm wild off the tee. Yes, that's true. I've spent more time in the rough off the first hole at Muirfield than I have on the fairway. But certainly that's definitely true. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I really. You could ask me tomorrow and I'd give you a different answer, but for today I'm going to say Muirfield. But tomorrow I would say Renaissance, and then the day after I might say Kilspindy. This is going to be really interesting, I think. And we're just talking about individual regions here, and I'm struggling. God help us when we're trying to talk about the whole of Scotland.
Okay, Malcolm, you need to come to a decision, and I know that you might alienate many of your very close colleagues and friends by actually choosing a hole in East Lothian that you favour.
Yeah, I think there's some it's really, really, really tough. All those holes I've said I really, really enjoy. But when I come back to simplicity, and I really like the first at Renaissance, I think that new change is really, really good. But one of the things I love is simplicity, and to be terrible, I think Renaissance is improving, and it's not Muirfield, but it's getting better and better every day. And like a lot of the courses, like Muirfield, they look at what they're doing and they improve, and people come in, they make little tweaks and make it better. So that's a good tweak they've made and made it better. If I was going to be doing a Scotland 18, I might put Renaissance 1, but in East Lothian 18, this might sound perverse. I'm probably going to go for Muirfield because of the simplicity of the hole. I think the 18th at Muirfield is one of my favourite holes in golf because it's just so simple. Everything is just perfectly placed. And yeah, so I'm probably going to go for that. And there's a great story about the first at Muirfield as well, because a guy called Mark Hilton was playing Sergio in the semi-final of the Amateur, and Mark was 3 down. Mark's now the guys, a lot of you in the industry will know him, who looks after Peter Miller, or Peter Millar, if you want to pronounce it. Mark's an awfully nice guy, big tall lad, and probably too nice to be playing on the tour. So he's 3 down at Muirfield, and level 18. Sergio goes for a little bit of easing of springs in the clubhouse, and Mark's on the first, says to the referee, "Can I hit?" "Not a problem." Stripes it down the middle. Sergio comes back and says, "Hey Mark, you to hit." "No, see the wee white thing down there? That's my ball." Sergio carves one right into the rough. The ball is found after 4.5 minutes by Mark's brother. He gets a half. Sergio chips in on the second for a half, and I think Mark missed a 6 or 8 incher on the 6th hole. And Sergio is now Sergio, and Mark's selling clothes. But what a great thing. And Mark won't mind me saying that. Imagine but that's golf. Your brother finds the ball in the amateur semi-final, and doesn't he put his foot in it? Which is how it should be.
Might I just say though, in case Mark is listening, I find his clothes very comfortable and would be very happy to receive some.
They are pretty good. I just on that. I wish we'd go back to some cotton shirts, because these new microfiber working shirts.
Oh no! Sorry, Stevie.
Come on,
sorry.
we just need some old cotton shirts. But the problem is, I've still got Peter Millar shirts that are about 10 years old. They still work. The colours don't go.
I've just been ranting about Peter Millar and how great they are, and I realised I muted, so apologies for that.
No.
And when I say ranting, I mean ranting in a very positive manner. And I absolutely back up what Dave says. We would happily be supported by Peter Millar. Happily be supported by Peter Millar. XL, mate. XL in the shirts. Mark, that's all you need to know. Right, let's go to Ayrshire's first holes.
I'm looking forward to hearing this, Stevie. I'm looking forward to hearing this, because I've got a lot on this list.
I'm concocting maybe a slightly shorter list than the previous two areas. Well, first up I would say would be Western Gales, in that it's not a long hole, but a lot can go wrong, and actually probably enforces you into laying up off the tee. But even with that laying up off the tee, it's still a tricky shot. And for those who have not played it, it's pretty much straight as you see it, par 4, which has an elevation halfway up, sort of maybe 200 yards along from the tee. It like rises up about 30 feet, and then it's like undulating to a green that's kind of upside down saucer with a bunker on the right and the left. But I think that's a really strong first hole. It's not complex, but the number of times I've hit my drive right into the heather with a 5-wood trying to lay up would frighten you.
There's a if I remember correctly, there's a yawning bunker over on that left side as well, is there?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. So second would be the new first on the Ailsa. Now, compare that to the original first on the Ailsa. It's an absolute different kettle of fish. A trickier drive, much more fairway bunkers. And what they did from the original Ailsa is they moved the green back about 100, maybe 75 yards into the corner, so creating more of a dog leg. Because the original hole was maybe 300 yards long. So it's a tricky drive. It's again a green that's slightly elevated, slightly humpbacked, surrounded by bunkers. I think that's a solid one. Dundonald first hole, I've always quite liked it, but that's one of the things I like about it is you can definitely give your driver a good smash on it, and if you can catch the hump, get yourself down onto the bottom level, it's not the worst setting shot. The trick is where the pin is because of the way the green's shaped, and then there's a front right corner that's down lower, and if you hit your ball left, it falls off a cliff down into those two bunkers. If you have flags on the left, it's a tight landing area for your second shot. And particularly if you don't make the hump, you're hitting it coming in, 5 iron, 4 iron, if you don't get down the hill on the drive. So, tricky. Those would be my 3 off the top of my head nominations. But I'm happy to hear if there's any other ones that I might have missed out that might be strong. I'm not a fan of Royal Troon's first hole. I think that's a bit too simple. And also, we've seen in many Open Championships, first 5-6 holes aren't like most challenging of a golf course. Yeah, I would say that would be in summary my thoughts around that.
I think the only ones are probably Prestwick and Royal Troon for me. And for me again, I'm wary about this. My dispersion dominating the conversation, but my typical kind of left to right shot. Let's say, well, we've kind of baby fade, obviously, rather than a huge slice. It doesn't like either of those holes very much. It's not. These are not holes to play. Yeah. if you're apt to move the ball 50 yards in the air from left to right, you need to check your timetable. Check your train timetable.
Yeah, I was going to say, Prestwick just waiting for a train coming along. In off the window.
Yeah. Now, as we've discussed in this podcast before, I am someone that hasn't actually played Prestwick, and subtly hinted that to the secretary. Who was
too subtle, Stevie.
And who actually, to be fair, put it on Malcolm to organise it. So Malcolm, we can pick that up after this.
Yeah, I wouldn't tell you invited me to play the 12 holes, so anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
That's interesting, 'cause-
sorry, on you go, Malcolm.
No, so what about Darley or Loch Green?
Well, Loch Green, both
Quite
of them,
similar.
they're quite similar holes actually, Dally and Loch Green holes. I've played many times. I don't see them. I think Dundonald's a better first hole than both of those.
See,
first
it's interesting
holes.
because I think most heavily played courses in Scotland, if not the most heavily played, Loch Green. So sometimes it maybe struggles a wee bit for condition. I mean, it's remarkably good condition considering the play it gets. So it's not a criticism. But again, I just like the simplicity of the hole. But I've got to say, I quite like the simplicity of Prestwick. And I think that's such a tight hole. Again, are you going to really take it on and get up there? I'm not sure it's improved since they took the gorse out on the left. Whether that made it just a bit tougher or not, but then you've got to look at speed of play. So if you're always hunting for golf balls, you slow everything down. And again, the first at Troon, yeah, these big boys can hit it, whatever. But are we doing this for us? Are we doing it for the top players? Because again, you got to hit a pretty accurate second shot. At Troon, you've got to put your drive in the right place. So I like those two. But yeah, no, I probably going to nudge Glasgow Gales or Ailsa out of your choices. But I tell you one, I just thought I've forgotten. Is Irvine Bogside's first is a crack.
That's a course I haven't played actually.
Irvine Bogside, you got to get to the top of the hill. It's a long second shot in. That's a cracking golf hole.
I've had a look at Western. The bunker that I've mentioned is on the right hand side of the green as you come up actually. So, but that is a great opening hole. The undulations on the fairway make it a great hole. I think Stevie's articulated really well the changes that they've made to the first hole on the Ailsa course. I think that is now a much improved hole, whereas previously it was probably a bit nondescript. Yeah, Dundonald's an interesting one. That's put the cat amongst the pigeons a wee bit.
It has a bit, hasn't it? Because it's I wouldn't have put it in there, but it's a very good hole. It's just young. I mean, I remember Archerfield, the 12th par 3 Archerfield in the Fidra, the wee par 3 in there. It looked, people really didn't like it when it started, but now the bridge is there and the gorse is growing up and it's all grown in. It just looks so much better. It's still the damn hole. It's exactly the same hole. The green's the same, the bunkers are the same. It just looks so much nicer. So the Donald's still young.
Interestingly, I played the Durlington Archfield and they're completely remodelling the first hole there.
Fidra.
Fidra, yeah. Have you seen that? They basically turning it into a dogleg. And
yeah, they're doing quite a lot.
But in Ayrshire, I would go Western. Western would be my pick. But Dundonald is a great shout, actually. Steve.
What I like about Dundonald is that it gives you an opportunity to smash the driver off the first, and also what it really does is reward you if you hit it well. Because if you smash the driver first and you get it over that hill, then the second shot is a completely different shot. However, you also can smash the driver shot, hit it right, or you can even pull it slightly, and that bunker on the left, it drags everything in there. That bunker on the left, if you're a little bit left, you're going in that bunker. So I think that's a good risk reward hole.
So what about, let's take the whole rest of Scotland very quickly for a first hole. So, I just love the Kings. That opening hole at the Kings is fantastic, and Rosemount Blairgowrie. I played that hole so badly the last 4 or 5 times I've played it. It's pathetic, but that's really nice hole. You got to just try and get it run off the side, and then a dogleg left in. And the Kings, again, a big open field, but you got to hit your drive in the right place to get the second shot up to that interesting green.
It certainly is that. I think Dornoch, playing in front of the sign, in front of the clubhouse, over the path. I think it's a great first hole. Again, green's really interesting as well. You've got to mention Machrihanish. I don't know what newspaper back in the 1980s or whatever decided and had a vote and decided it was the best opening hole in the world. But for me, with my dispersion again, I'm aiming out to sea, and then it just comes back. So again, it's a stunning place to stand and just contemplate the 4 hours or 3.5 hours if you're playing at Scottish pace that you're going to spend.
You've got like Machrihanish, don't you?
So I think to get the debate going at Scotland Where Golf Began on social across all platforms, Scotland's 18 is the hashtag, and why don't you start thinking about your first hole, your best first hole in and a preferred part of Scotland that you love, and tell us which that is. We've talked about East Lothian, we've talked about Ayrshire, we've talked about Fife, we've even touched on a few other areas, but this is just the beginning of this, and you can get in touch with us on social and let us know what you think with using the Scotland's 18 hashtag. Well, that's about it for us this week. www.scotlandwheregolfbegan is our website. Malcolm, tell everyone about the 1457 Society again.
1457 Society, go on to www.1457society.com and you can join us there. £49 to become a member. We're doing different events. There's Discord, chat rooms if you want some help planning your trips around Scotland, team up with mates and all the rest of it. There's some nice merchandise. I've just got some beautiful bamboo golf tees, all sorts of different stuff. Get involved and that money will get you into those different things, but it will also help fund the guys to edit this kind of programme and the videos and things we make on Scotland Where Golf Began. So we're the kind of sister site for Scotland Where Golf Began, but this is a club you can join from wherever you are in the world, as long as you're just interested in, well, one of the things you want to do is come play golf in Scotland and stay and eat and drink.
Thank you very much. Like we're doing right now. We'll be back soon, sooner than you think. Cheers.